Hello lovely people and welcome back to this week's new video. Today I am going to be attempting a 24-hour reading challenge of reading 24 hours straight. I've done this challenge before, but I'm pretty sure I slept, and I always feel like if it's 24 hours I should try to stay awake. I did try to do this last week, but I went to bed and it felt like cheating. So today we're gonna stay awake, and I have a huge stack of books. I'm currently in the middle of The Housemaid by Freida McFadden, which I'm reading for a different video. It's very readable though. I've read quite a bit of it already yesterday, so obviously I would love to finish this. And then the rest of the stack are library books. My short books are going to be a novella by Fonda Lee called Untethered Sky. I've got a graphic novel. This is the fourth book in the series, the Amulet series. This is The Last Council. I have two mystery thrillers, The Heiress by Rachel Hawkins, which was published this year, Rules for Vanishing by Kate Alice Marshall. I have a contemporary by Elle Cosimano, the Finlay Donovan series. I also have the ebook for the little novella in Vero's perspective. I have a romance, Hook, Line, and Sinker, which is the second book in the It Happened One Summer. I think it's following her sister. So I read that book a while ago and didn't quite like it. This is also so long for a romance. I also have a bunch of books on my physical TBR to choose from if I get bored with any of these. I'd also like to maybe pick up an audiobook in case I get bored and I just want to not look to read anymore. I'm like showered and ready to go, and I'm going to be starting in about 10 minutes. I do just have one errand to run today. I have to go do laundry because our washer is broken at the moment and management has yet to fix it. I'm getting myself pumped. I gotta go get coffee later. Currently, we're an hour and 7 minutes in, and I finished reading the last bit of The Housemaid. I really enjoyed this. Unsure of my rating. I started this yesterday on the subway platform while I was waiting, and someone came up to me and was like, I loved that book, so good. At first, the part that I read up to yesterday, I was unsure, but I really liked this. I got through it really quickly, and there's a second book in the series, so I think I will be picking that up. I am reading this for a different vlog though, so my full thoughts will be in that one. Unsure of when that's going up, but I'm pretty sure it's out already before this one. So now I get to choose my second book. I already feel really good because I read so much of this within the first hour. I think just to change up the vibe a little bit after reading a mystery, I will go with this fantasy novella. I don't know what it's about. I just knew that this had been something that I wanted to read because it's by Fonda Lee. She is the author of the Greenbone Saga, which I really like. Apparently has some other young adult sci-fi novels as well. This is really short. Esther's family was torn apart when a manticore killed her mother and baby brother. Esther wants to kill the monsters that killed her family. Her path leads her to the king's royal mews, where the giant rocks of legend are flown to hunt manticores by their brave and dedicated ruckers. Okay, so it's just a manticore hunt, but it's short, so hopefully it doesn't take me too long. Currently, we are an hour and 10 minutes in. Let's get to reading. We're now in the second hour. I've gotten a little bit better understanding of Untethered Sky. This is a fantasy. We're in a totally different world. Esther's family, her baby brother, and her mother have been killed by a manticore. In this world, there are rocks, R-O-C-S, and they are giant predators that are like birds, flying predators, and their natural prey is a manticore. There's no other animal in this world that can kill it, and they're very big and scary. They are the only animal that humans will flee from and like lock themselves into their homes. And then there are ruckers that are trained to train rocks and fly them and become manticore hunters. And this is what Esther has been training to do. She has a rock called Zara who has just made her first kill. I'm in part 2 of this. It's pretty cool. I feel like there's something that she's determined to do and she's achieving it. In the kingdom, they're known for this. It's an admirable job. I'm liking it. Hello. I am back from the laundromat. I started an audiobook because I knew I would be out of the house. We're also now 4 hours in. The audiobook that I started is Hook, Line, and Sinker because I was able to find it ready and available, unlike the other books that I've had on my TBR for the reading vlog. I have been listening to about 17%. I'm currently in the middle of chapter 5 and I think I can listen if I need something to do. I ended up not being able to actually read at the laundromat. I ended up grabbing some coffee and stuff and it didn't actually take too long. So I still am reading Untethered Sky. I think I'll probably listen until the end of this chapter or read the end of this chapter before getting back to finish Untethered Sky, which I only have 20 pages left of. It's going really well. In terms of Hook, Line, and Sinker, as I said, this is the second book in the It Happened One Summer, I assume, duology, and we're following Piper's younger sister Hannah and Fox, who is love interest in It Happened One Summer's best friend. He is also a king crab fisherman. He's super sexy. He's such a flirt and he's known for romancing all of the ladies and having a bunch of one-night stands. Hannah is Piper's younger sister. She wants more out of her job. She wants to curate music on movies, which is her work. So she convinced the director, who she has a crush on, Sergey, to film in Westport to be near Fox, and she's going to be staying in his spare bedroom. And they're definitely just friends, but Fox just doesn't think that she's into him because she has a huge crush on Sergey. So I think that the plot of this is supposed to be fake dating because they're going to pretend to be into each other so that Sergey gets jealous and pays more attention to Piper and see what she can offer on set. There's also close proximity, which I love. I'm hoping it's going to be cute because I didn't really actually enjoy It Happened One Summer. I gave it 2 stars. Also, a correction on this being fake dating. It's more of a friends to lovers situation. There was only one kiss at like the beginning at production party that she went to, just so that people she's working with would see, or at least Sergey would see and get a little bit jealous. Is it working so far? We can't really tell. After that, there's a lot of yearning. Almost 60% of the way through of the audiobook with this. I think I'm going to read physically a little bit so that I could listen to the soundtrack that someone made on Spotify for this because there's so much. Anyway, I want to listen to the soundtrack or the playlist that someone created for this because there's so much music involved in this book, and music is such a huge part of Hannah's life. She has a soundtrack playing for her life and I really love that idea. It sparks a lot of creativeness for her, especially in the role that she's going after. I have to say I don't like Brinley. She is not a girl's girl. We don't love that. She's totally fake towards Hannah in the beginning. I like that the music is bringing her and Fox together. I think it's really sweet. With this book being quite long, I'm not really sure where it's headed, but it's safe to say that I definitely am enjoying this more than the first book, especially because I relate to Hannah a lot more. She's the younger daughter out of a sibling of 2. Her and Piper are very close and they love each other a lot, but for a long time Hannah has felt like she is not the main character in her own life. She always felt like she's not the leading lady, as she says herself. She feels like she's always kind of been a side character or someone in the background because Piper takes up a lot of that energy and she gives off a lot of that vibe. In her even family, in their relationship and their dynamic, she's always just been kind of secondary, and that's also kind of translated into her life and her work. And in her new position, or on this new project at least for Stormborn, she is taking charge and demanding more space, more responsibility of her role there, and she's not using her stepfather's connections, his money, to advance herself, which I really admire because I feel like I didn't really like Piper in the beginning, her sister, because of like the rich spoiled brat vibe she gives off in the beginning. I'm really quite enjoying this and I really like Hannah a lot. We are just about to enter into hour 7 of this readathon, but I wanted to talk about this book because I just was about to start chapter 25. I've been listening to someone's playlist and enjoying it still. Fox is hesitant to enter a relationship with Hannah because he just feels like he can't really do right by her. His father was a bit of a playboy himself and his parents' marriage didn't really last because of that, and everyone kind of had these expectations like honestly really disgusting expectations onto a child, thinking that he would just be the same as his father because he started having sex sooner than the other kids. And so the whole town just sees him as this playboy who has no attachments to anybody. That's just been the way that Fox has seen himself, and he feels like he can't be enough. He's just also put himself into this mindset of he doesn't deserve to be with anyone for a long period of time. He doesn't deserve someone like Hannah. He's just going to ruin her. She's just going to be another hookup. And Hannah wants something more than that. Now they've had sex and they're dancing around this idea of possibly being in a more serious relationship, even though they know that Hannah's time here isn't going to be very long because she has a life and a job in LA. She's only here in Westport with Fox because of this movie that they're shooting, and when that's over she's going to leave. They both really want something, and I think they're afraid to really speak it into existence for fear of rejection for both of them different reasons. I really feel for Fox. I really feel so sad for him because everyone thinks of him in this way, that he can't be something more, and he just isn't in that place mentally to prove anyone wrong and to think that yes, I can deserve more, something more steady in a relationship. I honestly think that he could do something more than this king crab fisherman job. Not that it's bad or anything low. I think that because he doesn't think that he deserves any more than something of a steady relationship or something more out of women, he also just doesn't expect more out of himself and the dreams that he wanted to pursue before becoming a fisherman. And maybe through dating Hannah he could achieve that and work for a job that he actually had a dream of doing. Does that make sense? Anyway, officially 7 hours in, and I hope to finish pretty soon. We are almost 9 hours in to the readathon, and I did start the Heiress because I wanted to save the last little bit of the audiobook. Afterwards, I'm going to be watching a show with my sister. We're watching Shogun. I knew that I would need time, so I decided to start this while I ate dinner. I'm almost 100 pages into it, and it's quite weird. I definitely will be finishing the audiobook for Hook, Line, and Sinker though. This one is Rachel Hawkins, an anticipated read of mine, and it took a really long time for the library to get their hands on it. Just another reminder for me to donate. Ruby McTavish Callahan Woodward Miller Kenmore dies, and she's North Carolina's richest woman, but also the most notorious. She, as a child, was a victim of a famous kidnapping, and she's a widow 4 times over. In the aftermath of her death, her adopted son Cam, who is now the heir to this home, Ashby House, has to come back even though he wants to reject his inheritance. He has created a normal life as an English teacher in Colorado and married a normal woman named Jules. So 10 years later, now his uncle's death pulls him back to Ashby House, and he has to come back to meet his family, come for like the reading of the will or whatever. I'm not really sure what the mystery is, but apparently there is one. There are different newspaper clippings about the family, about Ruby when she was a kid. There's also from the desk of Ruby McTavish, like little notes that she's written. I'm not really sure who she's writing them to. I think there's perspectives from Jules as well. She's kind of like this normal bystander here just to observe. I'm not really sure what's going on. The blurb doesn't really give a lot of it away. We're now approaching hour 11. We're close to the midway point, and I've given myself a little bit of a break. I did watch Shogun. I finished the audiobook for Hook, Line, and Sinker, and then gave myself another break before I get back into reading the Heiress. I did enjoy this more than Piper's story because she gave off less privileged vibes, but I think like somewhere along the way, I feel like it's like a 3.5. Somewhere along the way, it kind of like fell. Maybe it was like one of the sex scenes through the audiobook was just a little icky, or maybe it was the epilogue. I don't know, but the turnaround seemed really fast for him. Maybe it didn't seem so fast because I was reading it all really quickly through the audiobook. I do really like Hannah. I think Hannah's really what was pulling it for me. Fox is cute, but he had these ideas of himself or this image of himself, and that wasn't really good, and I think he really did need to have that heart-to-heart with his mom to kind of get him through that and say like, hey, like you were kind of part of this terrible mindset that I'm in. It was cute. I mean, I got through really quickly, obviously, thankfully for the audiobook, and with this book alone, I've already read over 350 pages. We'll see what it is in total, but I feel like it is maybe around 5 500 pages over at least. We have now reached the halfway point, so let's do a bit of a check-in. Already, I've finished 3 books. I'm about 60% of the way through of my 4th book. I've read 195 pages of The Housemaid, which was the rest of the book. The novella Untethered Sky was 150 books in total. And then Hook, Line, and Sinker, which I read a little bit physically but mostly by audio, was 353 pages in total. And again, I read 193 pages of The Heiress, bringing the grand total to 891 pages so far. Although we are at the halfway point, I think I'll be okay. I do spend a lot of late nights now, especially because of my job. I have done a 24-hour readathon once before, but I did end up falling asleep because I decided to do it from like 12 to 12, the full 24 hours of the day. But I realized I was watching that video that I had just gotten back to school and I was doing it as like a celebration for the end of the semester or something like that. I had fixed my sleep schedule over spring break to wake up at like 7:30 every morning, and so I was not prepared for that. It means I was awake for a full day already, and that was where I went wrong. So here I think I'm going to be a little okay. I started the readathon maybe 2 hours after I've woken up. Will I nap after this is over? Maybe, and then last throughout the night so I don't mess up my sleep schedule. But I definitely will be making coffee at home at some point, and hopefully I can stay awake. Now we're going to continue into reading the rest of The Heiress. I have just under 100 pages left of this, so it shouldn't take too long. I've finished reading the last 97 pages in under an hour. I'm not sure if I would really call this like a mystery. It's a little bit mystery enough for it to be a contemporary. I'm not really sure what the mystery is. I guess we're like Ruby's motives for adopting him, the truth behind Ruby's disappearance as a little girl. Ruby reminds me a little bit of Evelyn Hugo and her life, very rich, extravagant, the husbands that she had, very similar, and like her story. It feels too simple to call this a contemporary, but I know that this was also really marketed as a mystery. I'm not really sure how I'm going to rate this because I did like it. It just felt slow a little bit. Maybe I'll give this also like 3.5 stars because I was a little bit bored and I was really wondering what the mystery was, and I'm not sure I felt super impressed or shocked by the reveals, but I think it was still an enjoyable time. The reading was interesting, especially because you get Ruby's perspective in the letters that she's writing. It was pretty good. Will I take another break? I might hop into the ebook depending on whether or not that affects the order of how I should be reading this series. Since it's past midnight and it's a new day, I'm going to take my little Wordle Connections break that I do. I also do the mini crossword as well as strands. Not bad. It's now 3 a.m. I'm in the 15th hour. I'm gonna start getting ready for bed. I'm gonna start unwinding, wash my face, brush my teeth and stuff like that. Caffeine is really doing it for me since I had it at like 3 p.m. I'm thinking I'll start to get sleepy around 6 or 7 a.m., which is when I can make coffee at home or even go out to get coffee. We're in hour 17. My eyes have been getting a little bit heavy. I've been listening to Elle Cosimano's actual playlist for Finlay, Donovan Rolls the Dice, which I'm enjoying a lot. As you saw, I'm about to start chapter 19. I've read maybe 50% already. It's more of like a cozy mystery vibe, which is interesting because I don't actually really like cozy mysteries, but I have so much fun with this series because it's funny. It's just a good time. It's just a good ride to follow along. I really love the characters as well, and I love Finlay and Vero's relationship. It's a little bit hectic because police are so close to her. Finlay is dating a cop at this point. Now they've somehow are also working on a case with her in Atlantic City, so they're all together. Nick, the cop who's also her boyfriend, is wanting to spend a lot of time with her while also investigating this case, which complicates things so much. I'm definitely finding myself reading a lot slower, taking a lot more breaks because my eyes are getting heavier, but I'm determined to stay awake, obviously. I think I will probably be making coffee in the next half hour at earliest. I think I'm gonna just try to hold on until 5:30 and continue reading. It's almost 6:30 in the morning. I've made my coffee. I used the last of my oat milk. I'm 88% of the way through. I am almost done. I considered going to watch the sunrise at the beach, but Coda didn't want me going out this early in the morning by myself, especially when I'm on so little sleep. So I'm at home. Hopefully I can stay awake. I might have some audiobooks that I can start, but I only have 2 books left. I'm sure some people are beginning to wake up to start the day, but I am still awake, surviving. I think I should be finished with this quite soon. I'm so hungry, but I have no energy, and I still have 2 hours of this godforsaken challenge, and I no longer want to read. I'm like so over it. I'm convinced I'm gonna DNF this book. I end up on my phone because I'm not enjoying it. My TBR shelf is out there. I have no energy. I don't think I've read for like an hour and a half. I may have inadvertently put myself into a reading slump. Yeah. Or I could DNF it now and then read for the last 50 minutes something else. Read something else for the last 50 minutes. Yeah, it's been a long night. So the book that I started is Rules for Vanishing. I just realized I did not even press record. I'm refilming this. This is a YA horror, a little bit paranormal. Once a year, a road appears and the ghost of Lucy Gallows beckons whoever's on this road. 1 year ago, Sarah's sister Becca went on this road and followed Lucy Gallows and disappeared. Only Sarah knows where she is, and she's going with like her group of friends to go get her, but Lucy's now waiting for her. I don't know what's going on. Now there's like a bunch of characters that I don't care about. I'm 82 pages in, so I think I'm just gonna DNF this. I've read a YA horror and DNF'd it before. I think it's just so ridiculous and juvenile. Isn't really working for me. I don't have another book to read. It means I have to leave my bed, and I don't want to do that. Like I said, so depleted of energy. I could start a different book that I have for a different vlog, or I'm so tired. There's only 50 minutes left, right? I'm so tired. But I can't sleep. I think the caffeine's doing it a little bit. I could only just rest my eyes. I wasn't actually getting sleep for 10 minutes. Just kidding, it was 20. I just need sleep to wash over me, but it won't come. I feel like I'm gonna get sick from doing this. Or like a toothache or something. Just unwell. This is how I feel right now. This is just... So I have 2 books on my shelf, 2 library books. I have 2 library books left on my shelf, and it is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, which I'm reading for another video. Unsure if that's come out already. And then I have The Diplomat's Daughter by Karin Tanabe. I have renewed this book before, which is why I want to start it sooner, but this book is due like 2 days first. Hello? 2 days earlier. Do I want to bother reading 1 chapter each to like muster that up? No. But I feel like a romance is going to be easier to get through. So let's just read a little bit more of this while I tell you that I have 50 minutes left of the challenge yet again. Now it's 45 minutes. Allow me to just regroup. I took an hour nap right after I finished, and I feel so much better. I do still need to eat something. I am totally famished, but I've had some water, washed my face, changed, a little bit of blush on my cheeks, and I feel loads better. Anyway, I'm here to finally do the wrap up. I have quite the stack of books here. For the latter 12 hours, I read the last 97 pages of the Heiress, the 107 pages of the ebook Veronica, Ruiz Breaks the Bank, Finlay Donovan Rolls the Dice, twice, which was 309 pages. I then read 219 pages of the fourth book in the Amulet series, The Last Council. I read 82 pages of Rules for Vanishing by Kate Alice Marshall, decided to DNF it, and started Yours Truly, which was 35 pages, which brings my grand total to 849 pages. Let me just quickly rearrange these books depending on my rating. Obviously, Yours Truly is not included in this. Untethered Sky being 4.25 stars. The Housemaid plus Veronica Ruiz Breaks the Bank were 4.25. The 4 books here were 3.5 stars, and obviously this is the lowest, being a DNF. I read so much, but I definitely think I could have read a lot more had I stayed on reading. For the rest of the day, I want to make content and edit my videos. I think I will not be picking up a book until later tonight, hopefully to help me fall asleep. I might be tuckered out from reading after reading a total for this reading vlog 1,740 pages. I read so much, which I'm so happy with because I'm now like 7 books ahead of my reading goal, which is a huge bonus, and I love because I've been so behind. I can't believe I stayed up the full 24 hours. I'm proud of me. Will I be doing this soon? I don't know. Staying up the whole time is hard. Maybe I'll do like another 48 or 36 hour readathon or something like that, but I did have fun because I read so much and I enjoyed a lot of them. I feel like had I not been so tired, they could be rated higher. We will never know. I hope you enjoy. Let me know your thoughts on the books that you've read, and I will see you on my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!